Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the latest headlines this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to start 5-day visit to Seychelles, Mauritius and Sri Lanka today. Trip to focus on encouraging reconciliation process with Sri Lanka. Government likely to move 6 amendments to land acquisition bill in Lok Sabha. Opposition firm on scrutiny by House panel. Coal block auctions surpass CAG's estimated loss figure of 1.86 lakh crore rupees. Net proceeds likely to cross over 2 lakh crore rupees. Spectrum auction bids garner over 1 lakh crore rupees. Swine flu rages unabated across the country. Death toll touches over 1,400 after 40 people succumbed to H1N1 virus yesterday. And in the Cricket World Cup, Ireland off to a flying start after electing to bat against India, but India pulled back with 2 quick blows. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin his 3-nation 5-day visit to Seychelles, Mauritius and Sri Lanka today. Talking about the visit, he tweeted that the Indian Ocean region was very important for India and so it was necessary to strengthen relations with this region. India is also going to focus on encouraging a process of reconciliation with Sri Lanka. Here's more.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Sri Lanka on March 13th and 14th, all eyes will be on finding a solution to the humanitarian issue of India's fishermen's rights. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe made a controversial remark last week, threatening Indian fishermen may be shot if they entered Lankan waters. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj discussed the matter with Wickremesinghe in Colombo on Saturday.
उनके घर में बैठकर मैंने उनको पहली बात ये कही कि जो इटालियन मरीन्स की बात आपने की ये तुलना बिल्कुल गलत है और ये जो गोली मारने की बात आपने कही ये बिल्कुल अनुचित है, हमें अस्वीकार्य है। क्या हम दोनों देश एक दूसरे के मछुआरों को गोली मारते रहे?
We recognize today that this is an issue. It is a livelihood issue which clearly has larger humanitarian aspects to it, and we have to sit down. We expect to sit down and work out with the Sri Lankans how we are going to handle this to our mutual satisfaction.
Greater autonomy for Sri Lankan Tamils is also going to be an issue in focus. India has often urged Sri Lanka to provide greater autonomy to its Tamil population, which is one of the main issues of the reconciliation process.
Our role has been really to encourage that process happening, and we continue to be encouraging. There's a whole history out here, which sort of right now centers around the implementation of the 13th Amendment.
Talking about the other nations he will visit before Sri Lanka, Prime Minister Modi has said India's relationship with Seychelles was a very special one, built on the foundation of mutual trust and shared values. The Prime Minister also hoped his Mauritius visit would be very special. He tweeted that the relationship between the two countries had been strong and the two countries would work together to further these ties. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Joining me for a chat this morning to talk about the Prime Minister's 3-nation visit is international affairs expert and senior journalist Kamar Aga. Mr. Aga, thank you for joining me on the program. Prime Minister Modi will be embarking on his 5-day visit to 3 nations today. What's the agenda really going to be and what do you think is going to be the focus of this visit?
There are 2-3 things, The most important is economic cooperation between the two countries. We have a free trade agreement with them, We want its implementation, Line of credit, India is going to give, India is going to participate, in a big way in their infrastructural and development projects. We are also building Trim and Collie power project, plus other things, is going to be discussed. Trade to be second thing. The Prime Minister Modi's agenda of development is going to expand it. He wants to invest in that country, so that will create intense job in Sri Lanka. So that was also appreciated. What has happened, all these countries, neighboring countries of India or Indian Ocean Rim, they want this agenda to be expanded, and all of them, looking towards India, for this. So this is going to be, economic cooperation is going to be. The other issues are there, like the autonomy, greater autonomy for the Tamil people. Then, you know, the demilitarization also, the demand has come from Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
That the region should be demilitarized and the land should be given back to the local Tamils, you know. So all these issues are going to come up. Basically, you know, it is to further strengthen the ties between the two countries. The economic agenda is one of the very important country. India's wants, you know, this region, Indian Ocean region, to remain peaceful, and you know, the countries of the region also develop along with India. So economic integration of
yes, indeed. Economic integration is going to be one aspect of it. You also brought up the free trade agreement. That's going to be another aspect of it. But as far as the fishermen issue is concerned, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka recently made some comments and, you know, instigated the entire issue and inflamed the entire issue. Do you see that issue taking top priority this time around when the Prime Minister visits Sri Lanka?
You know, the foreign minister has already taken this issue. Sushma Swaraj has mentioned in Parliament also and the otherwise also. I think Prime Minister will also take up, you know, this is not done. It's a very undiplomatic way, you know. The timing of the statement was wrong also, you know, the time when Prime Minister was going to visit. Sri Lanka is a very friendly nation. We have ties with, goes back to thousands of years, you know, cultural ties, historical ties and religious ties, you know, all sorts of relations which we have with Sri Lanka. It's a very close to us, you know. So coming at the time when Prime Minister was about to visit, you know, his statement is not welcome by anybody, you know. He should have refrained from issuing this statement, you know. But nevertheless, you know, that I think, you know, the government, the official level or some senior level, Prime Minister generally doesn't take up such issues, you know. The official level, the foreign ministers or official level usually take up such issues, you know, but it will come up during the visit, you know, these things would also come up, you know. And generally the people of Sri Lanka and the government of, and the president and the country, you know, wants closer ties with India, you know. We have a very special relations with them, and this is what reiterated last month when President Sri Sena visited India, you know. That was his first visit. After the elections, he come to India and reiterated that closer ties between the two nations, you know. So emphasis is on improving ties. We want a closer ties with Sri Lanka.
All right, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar Agha, for joining us with those inputs and putting things into perspective for us this morning. Well, moving on now, on one issue likely to come up during the Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka will be the fishermen issue, just as we spoke about. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj told the Rajya Sabha yesterday that this issue will be dealt with on humanitarian grounds and that India's concerns have been raised with Sri Lanka. Here's more.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj's statement to the Rajya Sabha came in the backdrop of Sri Lankan Prime Minister R. Wickramasinghe's recent strong remarks on Indian fishermen. Swaraj said the issue needed a softer approach.
जब तक हम डीप सी फिशिंग पर जाते हैं, तब तक के लिए तो कोई इंटरिम अरेंजमेंट करना होगा, और वो इंटरिम अरेंजमेंट टेक्निकलिटीज पे नहीं हो सकता, वो ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एंगल से ही होगा। और इसके लिए एक मैकेनिज्म हमने तय किया है कि दोनों तरफ के मछुआरे स्वयं बैठे।
Members raised objections on the issue of deep-sea fishing as others asked what steps the government had taken in response to the Sri Lankan Prime Minister's statement on shooting dead trespassing Indian fishermen.
जो फिशरमैन हैं उनकी जाने की एक सीमा होती है बोट के जरिए, and when you invite the multinational corporation trolleys for the fishing, वो अंदर डीप सी में जाकर के मछली पकड़ने का काम करते हैं, जिससे सारे देश के मछुआरे बर्बाद हो गए।
कहां से हमारा मछुआरा डीप सी फिशिंग लेकर आएंगे? मैं विदेश में जाके देखा डीप सी फिशिंग किसको बोलता है। 100 करोड़ रुपया लगता है एक डीप सी फिशिंग के लिए। हमारा मछुआरा इतना गरीब आदमी है, उसको एक छोटा ट्रॉलर भी नहीं मिलता है, नाव भी नहीं मिलता है, और सुझाव देता है कि हमारा मछुआरा डीप सी फिशिंग करेंगे।
Did the EAM tell the Sri Lankan Prime Minister that the Prime Minister, that is the Indian Prime Minister, cannot visit Sri Lanka until he publicly retracts his threat to kill innocent, unarmed Indian fishermen?
All right.
Swaraj sought to allay concerns on the deep-sea fishing issue, assuring government help to fishermen. She also informed the upper house that she had voiced strong objection during her visit to Sri Lanka last week and received a positive response from the Lankan PM.
हमारे प्रवक्ता ने जो बात मेरी हुई थी हम दोनों के बीच में वो उन्होंने रखी, पर उनकी तरफ से कोई खंडन हमारी बात का नहीं किया गया। तो जो संस्कृत में एक सूत्र है मौनम स्वीकृति लक्षणम, उनका चुप रह जाना मेरे ये कह जाने के बाद कि वो सहमत हो गए हैं और समझ गए हैं और ये बात अनुचित थी, ये उनको समझा दी गई है। ये रिट्रैक्शन ही है उनकी तरफ से और ये पब्लिक अपॉलॉजी के बराबर ही है उनकी।
Prime Minister Modi will be in Sri Lanka on March 13th and 14th on the third and final leg of his 5-day tour beginning Tuesday. It will be the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the country in 28 years. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha television.
Well, it's time for a short break now. On the other side, Prime Minister launches first indigenous rotavirus. That and much more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
अभिव्यक्ति और अधिकारों की अस्मिता। औरत की आजादी कितनी किताबी और कितनी सच, उसके लिए बने नियमों का जिक्र तो शास्त्रों से लेकर संविधान के कानून में भी है, लेकिन ये सब कितने सार्थक और सकारात्मक है। नारी समानता और समाज में औरत का मकाम। देखिए अस्मिता में खास पेशकश सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Back, you're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Modi government is all set to move at least half a dozen amendments to the land bill in the Lok Sabha today. These could include restricting land for industrial corridors and a grievance redressal mechanism. Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu yesterday expressed the government's willingness to consider 52 amendments moved by members. He also suggested creating a bank of barren land for acquisition and said first such land should be used for setting up of industrial projects. Reports suggested that one of the amendments could relate to restricting land acquisition within 1 kilometer of both sides of railway tracks and highways. Another could dispense with moving the High Court for appeals and instead people can approach authorities within the district first. Well, let's now see what transpired in the Lok Sabha yesterday over the bill.
I beg to move that the right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement amendment bill 2015 be taken into consideration and that bill be.
The government has shown willingness to be flexible about the provisions in the land acquisition bill. The government also said that the amendments have been brought in on the demands of the state governments. Despite this, the opposition can have its say.
It is incumbent on the government of the day to take care of those concerns and see to it that these concerns are addressed too. That is the point which I am trying to make, sir. So it's not a unilateral decision taken by this government. It's a decision taken after proper consultation with the states. As many as 28 to 30 states were present in the meetings. They have expressed concerns.
The debate on the bill was started by CPI MP C.N. Jayadevan. He accused the government of bringing in an ordinance on the issue just to benefit industrialists.
13 central acts specified in the 4th schedule had to be amended in order to make them consistent with the new act within 1 year, that is by December 31st, 2014. The NDA government is giving this as a reason for bringing in the ordinance. But the question is, why did they wait till December 31st, 2014? If the amendments were in favor of the poor, they should have brought it as a bill in Parliament and passed it unanimously.
The opposition raised several questions about the government's intentions on the issue. Speaking on the Congress's behalf, Jyotiraditya Scindia said the government was not only against the poor and the farmers, but is also putting food security in jeopardy.
आपने कहा था कि इस अध्यादेश के पीछे कई कारण हैं। पहली बात देश की सुरक्षा, दूसरी बात किसानों को पूर्ण मुआवजा दिया जाएगा, और तीसरी बात कुछ मामूली त्रुटियां हैं जिन्हें हमें हटाना होगा। इन तीनों चीजों का कोई प्रमाण नहीं है।
Some opposition leaders also accused the government of trying to benefit just the private sector. They also demanded that farmers be consulted before land is acquired.
We have strong reservations about your move to include private hospitals and private educational institutions for the purpose of becoming eligible for getting acquired land.
Lately, sir, you would have noticed that we are being bombarded with a word which is now sounding very detestable to all of us, and that word is development. So development, when the word is uttered, I always wonder, development for whom? Is it development for an Adani or for an Ambani?
For the private enterprises, private industrialists, 80% consent, 80% purchase if it is taken, and 20% acquisition. That time also we opposed, and we are today also 100% we are opposing.
The government is unlikely to have any problems in getting the bill passed in Lok Sabha, but it is sure aware that there will be voices against the bill not only from the opposition benches but also from its own allies. There is also a fear that the bill could portray the government as anti-farmer, thus the flexibility. The debate will continue on Tuesday. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, coal block auctions are likely to net the government over 2 lakh crore rupees, far above the 1.86 lakh crore loss estimated by the CAG on account of the UPA regime allocating them without auction. Power consumers are also expected to benefit around 97,000 crore rupees in additional tariffs through reverse auction of coal blocks. On the fifth day of the auctions, the government was set to garner over 11,300 crore rupees from selling 2 mines including Utkal C to Monet Power. Bidding for the Lohari block in Palamu district of Jharkhand is expected to net 1,800 crore rupees. Moving on to the auction for spectrum now. At the end of the 5th day of bidding, the government collected 94,000 crore rupees worth of bids from telecom players. 7 rounds have been completed so far. The government had targeted a minimum of 82,000 crore rupees from the sale of 2G and 3G airwaves. And at the present rate of bidding, the government could collect over 1 lakh crore rupees. For all the other national news and updates, let's take you nationwide. The Enforcement Directorate summoned Kashmiri separatist leader Shabir Ahmad Shah on the 24th of March for questioning in connection with a case related to financing terror. Shah is the chairman of Democratic Freedom Party of Jammu and Kashmir. An alleged Hawala dealer, Mohammad Aslam Wani, claims he passed on 2.25 crore rupees to Shah. Swine flu cases crossed the 1,400 mark. 41 more deaths were reported yesterday, taking the toll to 1,401. Assam registered its first casualty on Monday from 10 positive cases of H1N1 in the state. The death toll in Gujarat increased to 342, while Rajasthan reported 330 deaths. The number of affected people stands at 25,681. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the first indigenously manufactured rotavirus vaccine in New Delhi. The 3-dose Rotavac vaccine is expected to significantly reduce deaths caused by rotavirus diarrhea. Every year, it results in up to 10 lakh hospitalizations and kills nearly 80,000 children under 5 years. At least 10 people were injured when villagers clashed with Forest Department personnel at Marigudem village in Khammam. The farmers were resisting attempts to fix boundaries of forest land around their village. Let's now take a look at the events lined up for today in our segment The Day Ahead. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is likely to meet Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today. Reports say Banerjee will seek more funds and debt waivers for her state. On Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured her full assistance to the issue from the centre. The JDU legislature party will meet in Patna today ahead of the trust vote on Tuesday. The meeting will be held at Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's residence. Nitish Kumar will prove his majority 17 days after taking oath of office. The BJP legislature party is also slated to meet to chalk out a strategy for the upcoming budget session. Today is the last day of filing nomination papers for by-elections to 3 Rajya Sabha seats, one each from Maharashtra, West Bengal and Uttarakhand. The seats fell vacant after the deaths of Murli Deora, an MP from Maharashtra, and Manorama Dobriyal Sharma, Rajya Sabha MP from Uttarakhand. The West Bengal seat fell vacant after the resignation of TMC's Srinjoy Bose. Voting will be held on the 20th of March. The army will commemorate the martyrdom of over 74,000 Indian soldiers in World War I with the start of the centenary of the First World War. It will continue till the 14th of March. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay a wreath at the Amar Jawan Jyoti before departing on a 3-nation tour. We'll slip into another short break here. When we return, Republicans warn Iran against a nuclear deal with Obama. That and much more coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tradition dating back centuries. A cultural heritage that inspires and warms at once. Magic that awes. Rajya Sabha Television brings you events that embrace the wonders of India's classical arts. Conversations with the biggest names in the culture and music. Rajya Sabha Television, democracy at work.
In the Maths Factor, we travel through time and space and see how maths has evolved and how it is a part of the world around us. Join us on Rajya Sabha Television. Watch the Maths Factor every Sunday at 8 AM.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. In the US, in an instance of extreme political partisanship, Republican senators made an unusual intervention by warning Iran against a nuclear deal with President Obama, saying it will last only till he remains in office. Republican senators signed a letter stating that the Congress plays a vital role in ratifying international agreements. They said the next president could revoke any such executive agreement. President Obama criticized the letter, accusing Republicans of interfering in ongoing nuclear talks. Fellow Democrats termed it a political stunt.
Time to undermine a commander-in-chief purely out of spite. We should always have a robust debate about foreign policy. But it's unprecedented for one political party to directly intervene in an international negotiation with the sole goal of embarrassing the President of the United States.
Well, let's get you some more international news and updates in our segment World Wrap. The United States yesterday called and ordered sanctions against 7 Venezuelan officials while calling the country a national security threat. President Barack Obama signed the new sanctions. They targeted people who committed violence and prohibited freedom of expression. At least 9 members of Islamic State were killed during infighting in northwest Syria. The fighters clashed near the town of Al-Bab, 30 kilometers south of the Turkish frontier. 5 escapees and 4 of those trying to prevent them were killed. Those trying to escape included a Tunisian and 9 European fighters. $5 million reward for missing Americans. The $5 million award has been given to the American Missing Award for help in finding American who disappeared in Iran 8 years ago. Levinson is a former FBI agent who disappeared from Quiche Island in 2007 while on a business trip as a private investigator. The solar plane has landed in Oman. The first solar-powered plane landed yesterday after the maiden leg of its epic voyage. Monaco's Prince Albert congratulated the two pilots for the successful landing. Solar Impulse is on a 5-month journey of 35,000 kilometers. It will focus the world's attention on sustainable energy. Apple will sell its new watch in stores on the 24th of April with the high-end model starting at $10,000. The Apple Watch Sport starts at $349 for the smaller version. The device is being marketed as a smart watch. It's being described as an intimate communication device and a companion for fitness. And time now for all the action from the world of sports in our Sports Beat. Former IPL Commissioner Lalit Modi was voted out as Rajasthan's Cricket Association President on Monday amid violence and chaos. Several people were injured after members of a rival faction pelted stones at buses ferrying Modi loyalists to the venue of the meeting. Modi pulled 17 votes against and only one in his favour. The Indian Cricket Board suspended Modi in 2013 for financial misconduct in the second and third editions of the IPL. Arsenal beat Manchester United 2-1 to reach the FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford. Nacho Monreal scored the first goal for Arsenal and Welbeck scored the second to make it 2 for Arsenal. Wayne Rooney pulled one back with a header for Manchester United. England was ruled out of the World Cup after Bangladesh defeated them by 15 runs. Bangladesh scored or rather made it to the quarterfinals along with New Zealand, Sri Lanka and Australia from Pool A. Bangladesh scored 275 with Mohammedullah top scoring with a century. The defenders, or rather England, could score only 260 with the highest scorer being Joss Butler who scored 65. And there's another World Cup match taking place today. Of course, India is playing against Ireland. India, let's not forget, have already made it to the quarterfinals of the tournament. Ireland got off to a brilliant start earlier today, but there were some quick blows by the Indian spinners to pull Ireland back. Ireland were going at a score of 6 runs and over. The score now stands at 165 for the loss of 3 wickets.
That's not really full appeal. Trying to hit the ball hard.
That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.